Why do I want to do this job? I feel it is absolutely important for somebody like me in a transitioning neighborhood with a daughter who's 3 years old and her friends in her community, in our neighborhood that are 3, 4 years old. Want to make sure that she has a quality school to go to, and every other child in this community has a quality school to go to. What kind of father would I be if I didn't try to do that for my daughter and every other child in this community? I just can't sit idly by while I see something so important as our schools failing our students, failing our children in this community, failing our taxpayers, failing our parents, failing our teachers, failing our principals, if I wouldn't get up and try to do something about it.
You've talked about Rama Road,
Yes.
your homeschool, but you find it unacceptable.
Currently.
What would it take? What could the school board do to make that school acceptable?
Well, one thing it could do is put principal's office on the principal's door rather than officina de principal. That's all I'll say.
Okay, and that would make the school successful?
I'm not saying it would make the school successful, but it would actually go back to the way things were 40, 50 years ago when we demanded our children learn in English. That it would go back to putting traditional education back into our schools. It would stop some of the mollycoddling we do of maybe some children that aren't up to grade level, which goes back to what I said originally about our children who are getting socially promoted that have no business being in some of the grades that they're in because they can't handle first grade work and they're in 5th grade. What are they in school for? What are they doing? They're not learning anything because they can't, because the work that they're being...
What as a school board member, what resources, as a school board member you control resources. Right. What resources could you provide to Rama Road to make it an acceptable school?
It's not about resources, ma'am. It's not about throwing money at problems. It's about fixing what's broken.
So how would you fix Rama Road?
As I told you, I would say no more teaching in Spanish, unless it's a Spanish class. That's number one. Number two, institute my idea of no more social promotion. The kids in 1st grade that can't pass, put into a class, which age-wise would be 2nd graders, 3rd graders, 4th graders, until they can read a read, spot, run, or run, spot, run, or whatever those books were when I was in 1st grade, that you mastered. They pass that, all of them can master that book, they move on to the next book. Until these children can do the work that they need to do to get back into their grades, that doesn't cost money. That's just, all that costs is thinking outside of the box and allowing the children who are at grade level to be able to be taught to grade level or even higher than grade level. Instead of these poor children that are behind the 8 ball to begin with because of their backgrounds being forced to do work they cannot do, is tying up teacher resources from teaching the children that can do the work and can do advanced work.
So one of the answers at Rama is to track the kids, all those behind are working together, and all those who are way ahead are working together with a separate teacher. Would that help?
That would start to work. I know myself, when I was in school, we had gifted and talented. I wasn't gifted and talented. Okay, well, we have kids that are advanced, so they get taken out of their particular classrooms and they go on to gifted and talented for a couple hours a day. Well, wouldn't that, if we look at things on a bell curve, wouldn't it just go to say that if there's gifted and talented, there's also kids that are behind, and maybe we can do the same thing with the kids that are behind and get them up to where they need to be?